Hey, what's up, everybody? We got it. We got it. We got that fifth wave. We were talking about it yesterday. We wanted, we only had three waves. We had one, two, three. We wanted number four, and now we got number five. So we have one, two, three, four, five. Boom. We have the fifth wave. So now what? Well, this thing could totally continue to keep rocking, or we could have a ABC pullback, which would be nice to see, right? You could see this third wave broke above all of this resistance. It back tested it, right? It confirmed the back test. Look at this wave in here. You can see a beautiful ABC correction. And then we got the back test, right, of this support area, making it new resistance. And then look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is it finished? Totally could be. Do we have bearish divergence on the 1 hour chart? Yes, we do. So, I mean, this is a good time for me to take profits. That doesn't mean it can't keep going higher, right? But at the end of the day, as a hodler, as an investor, I'm hodling and dollar cost averaging investing, right? Perfect. But as a trader, 10% of what I do is trade, 90% of what I do is hodl, just holding. So the trading part says, hey, take some profit. The investor part says, hey, do nothing, right? And also wait for an opportunity. And what opportunity is that? Well, we have 5, so I'm looking for 3. I want to see a 3-way pullback. I want to see a nice ABC, right? And we can probably maybe retest this area somewhere in here before a continuation higher, right? Preferably, I would like to see it get a little bit higher, right? A little bit higher, and then get that ABC. That way we have more wiggle room without breaking this low. But, we'll just have to wait and see how that is going to go down. So if I take a Fibonacci to where we are now, I mean, as long as we hold above this area here, I'm a happy camper, right? Because, just look at, let me show you XRP for a minute. That looks like a perfect diagonal to me, right? We have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You can see how the diagonal is getting closer, like a rising wedge, right? And rising wedges usually break down to the downside. So I want to see something like that before I go long on a pullback. Now, it doesn't have to happen that way. This can totally be something else, right? It could totally be something incredibly bullish, like a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And now this is setting up for another maybe 1, 2 before we get something huge, like very, very big. And I mean big, like breaking out completely here. So that's kind of where we are. I would prefer a 3-wave pullback because that would allow my trade to re-enter. But if it doesn't, no big deal. I got my hodling, my investing, so I'm fine. And just because it goes up there doesn't mean I can't trade it, right? So if I see something where I can get in, right, then it would be completely fine. So, but from what I'm looking at right now, this to me, I'm hoping, is some type of diagonal where we have an A, B, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that diagonal is basically the first wave of the third wave of the 1, 2, 1, 2, which is insanely bullish. So if this is the case, right, this is just an idea, not financial advice, but this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So that's wave 1. Now we're in wave 3. And in wave 3, we have 5 waves. So we just completed the first wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get a little higher, right? Maybe we get up to 54, maybe 55 cents. And then we have an ABC. Maybe not that big, something like that. This would be a very golden opportunity to buy, right? It doesn't, I'm hoping it can be a clear three-wave shape and not some funny looking flat or some weird running flat. You know, I hope it's a nice, clean three-wave move, and long it, right? So that would be, let's zoom out now. That would turn into a third wave, right? And just to give you an idea of the size of what I'm talking about here, my prediction might come true, if that's the case. So this thing could totally get way up here. Like, I'm talking 70, 80 cents XRP, right? 70, 80 cents XRP up in here before we do something like that. So that's what I'm thinking here with XRP. This is real talk right here. This is serious business, because now we're getting clear structures, right? Before, I was like, this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could still be that way, but the more the weeks go on, the more the days go by, the more the chart develops, the more I'm looking at it saying the probabilities of that happening are decreasing every hour, right? So my feelings, my gut instincts are telling me, this isn't the case, right? Because I'll give you an example, right? Just a real quick recap. And I'll do it with the price of Theta, right? Because I wanna go back and forth. I don't want to give all attention on XRP, all the attention on Theta. I mean, both of them are my children. You got to give them equal attention. Some people hate XRP. Some people don't really care about Theta. I love them both. But the thing is, the entire thing that we've been talking about is, number one, right? This is an ABC. And that's what we've been talking about forever. We back test the bull market support band. We have a 1, 2, right? As soon as we bounce off again, we have another a 1, 2, right? But it looks like it's in the shape of a triangle, which ultimately goes down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that could still happen. That could still happen, right? We could back test that $1.50 area, $1.45, and then be on our way. So that could still totally happen. What I'm saying is, since we got this pump, it's looking less and less likely that's the case. I mean, we could still have an A, B, C, D, E drop, right? So if it's going to drop, it's going to do it now. But if this turns into a three-wave pullback, right, and we have an impulse off the bottom, we have another little three-way pullback, I would long it right there, right? Because that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So Theta is at a do or die situation. Now, one thing I really like about it, right, is when I go to let's go to the 2-day chart. When in doubt, zoom out. Look at that candle, guys. That is a bullish engulfing 2-day candle. Followed, and this engulfing candle is important, because where is it coming from, right? Just because it's like over here was an engulfing candle, but who cared? The run was almost over, right? The important part is the candle is coming off of another bullish engulfing candle, which is coming off the bull market support band. That's how you know it's serious business, right? Because if you look like over here, like I said, this was a bullish engulfing candle, but it was towards the end. This is a bullish engulfing candle, but it's at the beginning. So the downward resistance line, look at this. This is it, guys. Look at this right here. This is what I'm talking about right here. So let me get it right on the dot. I don't care about the wicks. I care about the bodies of the candles. So, I mean, you could say it's not broken out yet. And that's fine. And I'm a conservative guy and I can say that's true. Right? But at the end of the day, I want more touches than less touches. So, for example, you can see the thing with trend lines is you want the most amount of touches, right? So I have a touch here, 1, 2, 3, almost 4. I'll say 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 touches drawing it that way. If I bring it up just wick to wick, I only have 4 touches. So I like it right there, right about there. So we can see this engulfing candle is breaking above the supply line, which means the demand for theta is stronger than the supply that's being distributed to the market, which is a powerful thing if you're a hodler for theta, right? So this is an exquisite time to be alive, if you ask me, because this can be the beginning of something huge, right? Because look at this down in here, right? When we came down to the bull market support band, we nailed it 1, 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times, right? We nailed it. And then we developed a base down in here, right? And look at the size of the base. Okay, now look at the size of this base. This is a bigger boy, right? This was a little boy. But look at the wave we got out of that. We got a big wave. We got a massive wave out of this little boy. So maybe this boy right here, he's a lot bigger. So we're going to get a bigger wave, right? You know, when a fat kid jumps in the pool, it makes a bigger splash. So you can totally tell this is a pretty big boy here, which is exactly what we want and we welcome. So yeah, I think we're getting very, very good signs. Now the problem is, don't get your hopes up yet, right? Because this is the 2-day candle. We still have 6 hours to go. So we want to see this candle close above the downward resistance line. And more importantly, right, we're still, like I said, we're not out of the woods yet, but it's about baby steps. Every baby step we can make, every piece of progress we can make, right, is just another sign, right, that's decreasing the probability that we have to go and break the low, right? So I think a good goal for theta is to close above $2.24. So we're literally 1 penny away from getting that job done, right? If we don't do it on the first try, it's not a big deal. We have another try to go. So, but yeah, we're right there. Like, we are right in the middle here of the downward resistance and the horizontal resistance. So I would expect probably a little consolidation here, because this was pretty significant resistance right in here. So it is. So the thing is like, when we ran up into the resistance, we had a further distance to go, right? Which means we gassed out faster. So from this distance, from the bottom to the top, was longer than this bottom to this top. You see what I mean? So we have more energy, right? Think about when you fill up your car full of gas, right? The trip from point A to point B is longer, you have less gasoline. This trip, you have more gasoline, right? Because you didn't go as far, which means you have more in the tank to get you further, right? So, you know, and also the resistance line is getting weaker, right? Because we hit the resistance, and we're hitting this resistance with like a 40 caliber bullet versus getting hit over here with like a 9mm bullet. You see what I mean? So you have a powerful bullet hitting through that wall. It's gonna go through it. So just the one of many analogies you're gonna get with me on this channel. Some of them are totally silly. Some of them actually turn out pretty cool. But yeah, I'm really liking how this chart is developing. Like I said, the biggest concern I have is if this is an A, B, C, D, E, and then we're going down. That's why it's important for this wave to break above this wave, which it's attempting to do now, right? So, because like I've said, triangles occur in fourth waves. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then that could totally be the case. But, like I said, the more the days go on, the more bullish it looks, the better, the more optimistic I get. So going back real quick to XRP, here's an example of what I'm trying to explain here. So, and this is don't skip this part, because this is exactly what I'm talking about with theta. You can see right here, right, where we had the big breakdown. So where did the breakdown occur, right? So we had the crash, pump, dump, pump, crash. So we had a crash, we have a crash, we have a retracement, we have a retracement, we have a dump, we have a dump, we have another retracement, we have another retracement, and then the big crash. But look, we didn't get the crash. We're starting to, we made another high, right? You can see, let me put it visually here. So we have the dump, the dump, the pump, the pump, the dump, the dump, the pump, the pump, right? And then what happened? We had the big crash. But look over here. This is that was the opportunity for it to crash. It didn't do it, right? Instead, it stopped. It created a base, inverse head and shoulders. It broke out. It back tested, and now it's starting to continue to rise. Now, of course, it can still dump, right? It could still be an A, B, C type of dump, which is fine. But as long as we don't break these two lows down in here, I'm still looking at it bullishly, right? But from what I can see, this is a diagonal. This has that shape of that rising wedge type of look. So I really want to see it break down and then see it explode. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see it explode now, because when you do that, you gas out. Like right over here, we had basically from this bottom here, we had one wave to the resistance. We failed. From here, we had one wave to the resistance. We failed. So we don't want this to be one wave. We want it to turn into three waves, right? Which means this wave here came down. This wave here came down. This wave here pulls back, slingshots, so that it can break out of these 2 points. So you want that initial wave, which is 5. You want a pullback wave, which is your slingshot to get you out. Because, people just want, if you're in, you want it to keep going, just go, 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 go. But the problem is, if you go, and if you're going now, right, you run the risk of running out of gas again, right? Running out of steam, because this is one way from here to here, and then you have to break it. That's typically not what happens. Usually, if this is your resistance line in here, it takes one wave, a pullback, another push, some consolidation, and then another push, right? If you're doing it all in one wave, by the time you get up, you're running out of gas, running out. By the time you hit this wall, you're going to have nothing left, right? So, you want to pull back. Now, that's not to say it doesn't happen, because remember, this is crypto. Crypto, you can bust through a wall with one entire pump. I mean, just look at over here, guys. Look at this wave right here. This was one wave. Well, this is a bigger time frame, though, so you have to understand that. But this was one wave. Bam. And we broke all of this resistance in here, this resistance in here, this resistance over here, over here, over here, over here, all in one, basically one candle, and we sliced right through it, right? But how did it slice through it? Because it had a beautiful pullback in here, had the spring phase, right? This consolidation phase. And how did that occur? Because we had this, basically this sideways reaccumulation phase all in here, right? This was all of our reaccumulation. So, you know, and if you look at where we are now, that's exactly what's happening now, right? The same exact thing here. We have our reaccumulation. The difference between this one is it's actually two separate different accumulation areas, right? This is sort of like a stacking reaccumulation, and a good example of that is Bitcoin back in 2016, I believe. So we have, you know, a sideways reaccumulation, we break out. We have another sideways accumulation on top of this one here. So just like what Bitcoin did back in the day, right, we have our first sideways accumulation box, and then we break out, we develop a second one. And then it actually kind of sort of developed a third one before it took off to the moon, right? So going back to XRP here, you can see the same type of stacking behavior, right? So we could see this candle right here, right? It was one solid candle, one solid breakout, massive, basically the God candle, right? If I can point to any candle, which candle's the best one? It's this one right here, the kickoff, right? It's always the kickoff candle, the one that really sets the sentiment, the one that really puts things into high gear, right? Because this is the one that starts the entire move. So we're looking for that candle. We're looking for that guy. And the way you get it, like I said, you have this spring phase. So if you go back over to where we are now, you can see exactly a spring phase. It's not in the same shape, right? But it starts from here, and hopefully it ended here, right? So instead of a nice organic spring like we got last time that exploded the price, we're getting something more complex, right? We're getting something a little more complex in here, something like that. It's still the same thing, right? So we're point A all the way down to point B, point A all the way down to point B. It's the same. So essentially it's A, B, and C, or better yet, W, X, and Y, right? So it starts from here and it ends down here, and we're hoping that that's where it ends, right? And the reason why I'm really liking it is because the longer we hold support in here, right, we're holding support all through in here, the more likely we are to break out. Now, we don't want to spend too much time, because, you know, the longer you spend underneath the resistance, you're more likely to break down, right? So you're in between, you know, you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, as they say. But this, you know, this sideways consolidation here is actually exactly what we want. So you can see right here, when we came down, look at this. We went sideways in here, which initially pumped us out of here. So the whole thing with XRP is, in my opinion, that this is, we have 5 waves. Any way you slice it and dice it, we got 5. You know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the 5-wave move we needed. So, and then we got a 3-wave pullback. 1, 2, 3. Right? So we have a 5-wave move to the upside and a 3-wave pullback. And this, and the end of this wave here, this wave right here, was the liquidation event that occurred. And then, right, we actually sliced right through the low. in here. So you can see right here, here's all our support, right? We broke the support and we grabbed all of that liquidity down in there. Now, gee, where the heck have I seen that before? Well, we've seen it back in the day, right before XRP exploded to the upside. So here's our resistance, or our support line right here. So you can see price coming down. We grabbed all of that liquidity and then we shot to the moon. Guys, this is serious stuff right here. Look at this. We holding our support, right? We come down, we grab that liquidity. The question is, do we shoot to the moon? We have the opportunity here. I mean, the stars are lining up perfectly for this to go down. Bitcoin is in the right spot. The dollar is in the right spot. The altcoins are in the right spot. You know, like Theta is right in the right spot. It's right on the bull market support band. You have XRP right around the liquidity grab area. You have a 5-wave move following a 3-wave pullback. You have, you know, crypto going into its retracement levels, right? You have everything where it's supposed to be for, you know, for the conditions to be met. You know, if you go to Florida, you know, they got hurricanes there and tropical storms. There has to be but when I'm living here in California, we don't get that. Why? Because the conditions aren't there for something like that to occur, right? You have to have the perfect conditions for a hurricane to happen, right? So to me, I'm looking at this as a crypto hurricane, and all of the conditions are being met for this storm, right? The storm is upon us, right? I'm very sure you've heard that phrase before. The storm is upon us. So, yeah, I think I don't know what else to say except this is exciting, and I can't wait to see what happens. With that being said, you gotta not get too excited, right? Because you're not completely out of the woods, and we'll talk about that a little bit here. So with Bitcoin, the big thing about this is it can happen in two different ways. So number one, it could happen, right? The breakout I'm talking about, it could happen now within the next week or two, where we get up here, we get into the retracement levels, maybe we consolidate a little bit, right? Or maybe, and then we continue to break out. Another way it could happen, right? You get up here a little bit further, then you flag out, and then you break out. So something just a little bit stronger here, right? Where your resistance line, you have a shoulder, you have a head, you have another shoulder, and then you break out. So, I mean, but, you know, the way I've drawn it, I mean, that doesn't happen until, you know, July, right? So it could get a little bigger, right? It doesn't, you know, all of this stuff doesn't happen overnight. But the reason why I'm excited is because I got my 5 waves, right? I got it on the small time frame. So that gives us some substance to work with. But yeah, the other way this could happen is, I've talked about it before, is, you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had an A, B, C, right? We had a complex A, B, C. So that could totally happen again, right? Where you get another complex A, B, C, which comes down, right? Now we're coming back up with like this wave here, right? We're coming back up, and then we come back down, and then we go sideways, and then we break out, right? So it could turn into something like, but if that happens, it's fine. It's not it's actually good, right? It's actually really good. Why? Because it's creating a base, number one. It's allowing the altcoins to catch back up, number two. And number three, it's resetting all the oscillators, and it's basically establishing layers and layers of support through volume profiles and things like that. So yes, it would take more time, but it would actually make sense because as you go into the summer months, things kind of quiet down anyways. So I just, if we're going to have a big bull run, it needs to happen quickly before the middle of summer, right? Because typically the way I'm seeing this is we're going to get a rally, and then probably summer will chill out for a little bit. And then once October through December happens, I think that's going to be like the grand finale. I don't know how it's going to play. I'm not sure. I don't know time. Timing is very, very difficult. But that's kind of what we're looking at here. It all depends on how this correction takes shape, right? The other way it can shape up, which I don't think this is the case now, is an A, B, C, and then we go. That could still happen, but that's my least favorite count right now, especially since what we talked about on the small time frame. If it is going to do an ABC, I would rather it do something like this, right, and then go. And what is that? This is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. That is the best pattern you can have for the biggest breakout you can get. Why? Just look at XRP, right? Just look at XRP right here. That's exactly what happened to XRP. It was a lot bigger, right? It was a lot bigger, but that's exactly what happened. We had a rise, crash, retrace. We came down into reaccumulation. We went sideways and we blasted off. Right? So imagine Bitcoin somewhere right here. So, I'm not saying it's going to be that big. This is extremely big for what it is. But, it's a different time frame. So that's kind of where we are with the whole market here. Let me just zoom back in on the smaller time frame and talk about it here. So it's kind of looking like it's running into some resistance here on the smaller time frame. Let's pull up the retracement. I did say yesterday I want to see it hit the 618. We could totally still do that. We did hit the 50 line, right? So we had a 50% correction of this crash or of this dip here. We met the measured move of this inverse head and shoulders, I'm pretty sure. So let me draw it from here. And then I'll take that and I'll put it right about there. So not quite hitting it, but if you exclude the wick, we totally hit it. The measured move, right? So, yeah, I mean, let's look at some other charts here. So total 3, it's got that look, right? It's got that diagonal look where we broke out. We had a nice bull flag, and the first wave of the breakout of that bull flag is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it looks like a diagonal. So I would love to see a pullback. And you could say a pullback. We didn't even go anywhere. Well, that's what diagonals are, right? So
RJEX. Other names for the rising wedge pattern include the ascending wedge or the diagonal. In Elliott wave theory, the leading diagonal will break bullish while the ending diagonal will break bearish. There is also something called an ascending broadening or rising broadening wedge.
So, in other words, it's something like this, right? Where you have a series of waves, right, in a diagonal. You pull back for wave 2, right? And then we continue rolling. Here's another example here. Right? And look where it's at. This is another really, really cool part because it's happening at the first wave. So it gives it more confluence in these examples that we're looking at here. So here's the other thing for theta, right? Where we're talking about the triangle. It would just be flipped upside down because the triangle is coming not from going up, but from coming back down, right? So, but I don't think it's a triangle, right? Because we just have to wait and see because it is breaking above the downward resistance line. And it is coming off of the bull market support band, and it's actually, statistically speaking, probabilities are that it's probably not going to break down. It's actually going to break to the upside. So like I said, each day that passes by, it's looking better and better. Yeah, so there's there's that diagonal there. So let's see what happens in this area. So let me take everything off the screen, and I'm going to put the retracement on, and we have totally cleared through all the retracements. I mean, we're sitting right at the 886, right, stuck in between that area. So we cleared the retracements. Now it's all about holding support, right? And the big support is right here, right in this area. So another way you can kind of measure a rising wedge, right, is to take it from here to the bottom of here, right? And then I'm going to take this, and depending where we break out, maybe we break here, maybe we break up here, I'm going to just put it right about there. So the measured move of this falling wedge gets us right back down to where we want to be. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We're getting resistance in here, and then we pull back A. And that makes sense too because it's Friday, right? So to me, Saturday and Sunday are, not so much volume. It pulls back. And then we have an A, B, C. And then we back test. Continue higher. So yeah, when I zoom out, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at here. Something to get us back up in there. And here's another cool thing. It appears to be that we have completely broken out of the longer term downward resistance line, right? So this whole correction, that's the first step, right? The first step is breaking the downward resistance line. Or I should say, the first step is finding support. The second step is building a base. The third step is breaking above the downward resistance line. And then the final step is to break through the retracement levels, and then obviously the swing high. So if I had to say the most important step, it would be the retracement levels for sure. So you can see even on the daily chart, we totally broke above it, right? We broke out, bullish engulfing candle, we back tested it, and now we're continuing to make a pump here. So yesterday, or I should say today, we are officially breaking above all of this resistance in here, right? So this was a major, this is the major reason I'm coming out saying all of this stuff, right, is because of total 3. So this is kind of like the grand finale here, is what we just did, what we just accomplished, right? Because you could see all of this resistance. This is a major area here on the daily chart. So all of this resistance, right? So this block, this block, this block, all of these blocks, we completely smashed through it, right? So just to kind of replay things here, we had a crash, we back tested the bull market support band, we came back up, we came all the way down, made a higher low, back tested the bull market support band, came back up, met with the downward resistance line, and then what did we do? We created this bull flag, right? This bull flag right in here. So here's your flag pole, there's your flag, and then we had a bullish engulfing candle that broke us out of the flag above the downward resistance line. Then we met up here with this resistance, right? So we got rejected the first day, we got rejected the second day, but third time's a charm, and we have a bullish engulfing candle, right? That's engulfing the previous candle here and totally smashing through all of this resistance. So that is a major accomplishment. So now, right, I don't expect anything more from it at the moment, right? So for today, for tomorrow, I expect things to just kind of chill out for a little bit because we've already made a big stride. As far as the retracement levels from here, from this initial wave down, we have completely, look at that. Look at that, guys. Let me make sure that's, maybe make sure that's correct. Yep. Okay, so look where our resistance level was. This yellow box right in here, right? What I was just talking about. That's exactly right at the 702. That's amazing. So the 702 is basically like the green flag in NASCAR, right? You know, green flag, go, 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 right? Remember, I used to watch NASCAR a lot back in the day, back when it was actually kind of cool. So I think that now, since we've broken the 702, we've broken above the downward resistance line, now we take everything off the screen and we say, okay, that goal is now complete, right? It's all, like I said, it's all about making baby steps. So now the goal here is, let me make sure it's the right thing here. Okay. Let me put this down here. So now the goal is, we're right at the 50, right, on the larger time frames. So now I would say the big goal is to essentially get through here, or at least get to it, right, is the 618. So Total 3's goal is to get above $700 billion. So we're on our way, right? We're at 668 billion. You know, so we're close. But yeah, that would be the big goal. And then once we get above that, obviously the 702, 786, and the 886 shouldn't be too much of a problem to get through that. And let's see what else. Once we get there, so how could it look, right? How would it look? Well, it could look a couple different ways, right? We have a 1-2, right? We can get up here into the retracement levels, right? Maybe even a little higher, and then we can flag out in here and then go. That would be beautiful, right? Because you have you know, all of our resistance line. Actually, let me put that here, right? So this is our base right in here. By the way, we haven't broken above the base. I guess that would actually be the first goal, is to break above this this base here. And then once you break out, we can flag out and we can back test the top of this base here to make it new support. And that would be the important part. So if you want less risk and if you're trading or whatever, just wait for it to break out and then wait for it to back test, right? Not financial advice. I mean, this thing could break out and it could just see you later, right? So it's all about, you know, how you want to mitigate your risk based off what probabilities could occur. So that's one way it could go down. The other way it could go down is that this thing is ready now, within the next, I would say next week, right? So next week we just start breaking out here into the retracement levels. Maybe we have a little bit of a pullback here, and then boom, we go lights out, right? And we explode. So what that would be is a 1-2, 1-2. We would get wave 3, probably up to $1 trillion, I would imagine, even more. And then 4, something like that, and then 5. And then I would imagine the bull runs over, right? I would imagine the bull runs over. And at that point, people would say, no, it's just getting started, right? And it could totally be the case. So the way I've drawn it probably is, it's actually going to be probably bigger than that. It probably would be more like this, because I would imagine we at least get a 618 retrace, or a 1618 extension, I mean. So and it's probably even higher than that, right? I just go back to what Brad Garlinghouse said. he knows something. He knows something because he keeps talking about 5 trillion, 5 trillion. So he's confident in that, which means he probably knows Ripple is going to win. He probably knows, right? He talks about partnerships. He just said, right, there are partnerships that you don't know about, that we have not disclosed yet. So maybe those partnerships get announced later, right? And then maybe the lawsuit as well. So that would be the big goal, is the 1618, right? And then here would be the second target, 2618, 272. And then between the 3.414 and the 4.236, right? So anywhere around that area would be nice. Now, I don't know about, let's see, what was the 4.236 real quick? It was, because you said 5 trillion. I know I'm not right on the dot, but I just want an estimation. Okay, so it's about, it's less than 4 trillion. Which, kind of wouldn't make sense because you got Bitcoin and also Ethereum. So let me just get rid of that one. Let's be a little more conservative here. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in wave 5, right, you have 1, 2. We get up here, 1, maybe even a 2. We get up here in wave 3. 4. And then 5. Something like that. Right? Where we get way up there. Now, it could even turn into a 4-5, right? Another 4-5 because of the 1-2-1-2. Now, it's not going to look like that. I'm just giving you a visual representation. It's not going to look, just because people draw things doesn't mean anything. It just, it's to give you an understanding of how this wave could turn into what I think it's going to turn into, which is a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it could be the fact that maybe the 5th wave isn't here, right? Maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's wave 1. This is wave 2, right? And wave 1 of 3. So we have 1, 2, and then we have 3, 4, 5. And that whole thing is wave 3. You see what I mean? So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is wave 3. This is wave 4. And then we go up for wave 5. Now, it's not going to be that big the way I've drawn. I'm just kind of showing you there. So that would be nice, but I really don't think so. I think we have one more wave to go, because forget about total 3. When I look at Bitcoin here, we have 3 waves, right? We have 1, 2, 3. Maybe this comes up, hits the high like this, and that's the end of the 3rd wave. Then we get our 3-wave pullback. Then we go up for wave 5. That could still occur, right? Something like that. Or this is 1, 2. The 3rd wave is already finished. Now we're in wave 4, and then we get wave 5. So, there's a couple different ways it can happen, but we don't have to really worry about that right now. So another cool thing that I'm looking at here is Bitcoin, the downward resistance line on Bitcoin. And right now, we are attempting to break out here. I mean, look at that. Look at this. The candle will end in 5.5 hours. So I don't like the doginess of the candle. It kind of looks like, it's where you would expect a doji to come in, is right in this resistance in here. So the important part for Bitcoin, I would say the goal is to close above 60. Basically, I feel like we were just talking about this yesterday, right? We were talking about the goal for yesterday's candle was to close above this, and we did it by a lot, right? We closed above it perfectly. So then the second goal is to close above these 2 candles here. right? So let me put that one down, and look at that. So we have 5.5 hours. Let's see if this candle can close above these closes. If so, it would be the highest 2-day candle close since April 22nd, which is a big deal, right? It's important. But the way it's shaping up, I mean, like I said, I really want to see a correction here. So let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. And what I would like to see is a move way back down and back test 64K. That would be beautiful. Why? Because that would be a 1-2-1-2. We would back test this area here, and then that would set us up for a huge wave 3. So that's kind of what would love to see. Doesn't mean we're gonna get it, right? So when I zoom out, looks something like that. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We broke this line in here. So this area right here, I would like to see this diagonal, the correction to finish. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We come down ABC. We back test in here, and then we start ripping to the upside. So that's kind of what I would like to see. If not, then we keep pumping, right? And then we just have another pullback, but at a higher level, which would probably back test this level here. So either way, I would prefer this, just because it would set up a better 1-2-1-2 look for a bigger third wave. It would also allow me to get in on a clear trade at the moment, because I did take profit on my Theta trade. So yeah, I guess I could talk about that real quick. I did a trade here, right? I mean, I was accumulating for my investment, my HODLing, always at the bull market support band. But then I also said, you know what? Let's do a trade. I'll do, some people do like 50x, 100x. Nah, I don't need to do that. I'll do a basic trade. We'll do 4x. So I did a 4x trade right at about $2, $1.96, $1.97. I saw, we hit the bull market support band. We came up, we took this high out, and then we pulled all the way back, and we made a higher low, and then we started to develop, a little base right in here. And I said, okay, this is it. So I waited until it broke it, and I went ahead and entered the trade. So then I actually sold right here, the exact top of that wave. And then we had, it looks to me like some kind of diagonal here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Some type of falling wedge. So I want to see a little three-way pullback and maybe buy it again. Obviously, we can even come down here and back test, which would even be better in my opinion. So yeah, and if you don't believe me that I sold the top, I'll show you the trade. Let's see, let me find it. So the top here was $2.17. Obviously, if I would have just kept holding it, it would be higher now. But I didn't know that this was going to turn into a diagonal, right? And again, you don't have to know. You're trading, right? As a hodler, you don't. That's why you 90% hodl, 10% trade, or at least that's what I do. So here's the Theta trade right here. You can see. This is just an example. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm just showing you an example of how a real life situation occurs, and the reason why I do what I do. So I entered right here at $1.97, and I sold it right at $2.17. Right, so I made about almost $1,650, $1,650. I don't like to talk about dollars. I don't care about percentages, right? I'll tell you the percentages I make. That's fine. You can share that. Just try not to share the dollar amount. But in this case, I'll let it slide. So I didn't trade 8,254 theta. I don't have 8,254 theta for my trading account, right? But what this 8,254 is a 4x leveraged position, right? So I'm leveraging it by 4 times, which means if the price goes up 1 penny, that's as if it goes up 4 pennies. If I trade 1 theta, that means I'm trading 4 theta. You see what I mean? Obviously, I'm pretty sure you guys already know that. So it was really about 2,000 theta of what I traded. I mean, sometimes they're small, like, you know, sometimes I'll just do a little scalping trade, like I make 22 bucks here. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I lose. I mean, a lot of times I lose, right? This one I lost $163 on a trade. It wasn't a, you know, a big loss, but you know, I've had those before too. I try to use appropriate stop losses, but the thing with stop losses is they like to hunt for your stop loss, and they kind of price you out of the trade. So sometimes I use them a little more liberally, I guess you can say, but sometimes that could be a worse situation. Here's a fractal that blockchain backers shared this past week. And basically what I did is I highlighted the different colors, and you can kind of see where we are. So the reason why I'm sharing this fractal is because it gives confluence into what we've just been talking about, which is basically this diagonal in here, which basically says, okay, we want to see a 3-way pullback. If you look at this fractal down in here, look what Bitcoin did. Right? It came up, it came back down, and then it just started to, you know, accelerate. So maybe we get a little higher, but I want to see a 3-way pullback, just like how this was just like right in here, what it did right in here. So I want to see that. And that kind of lines up with everything we've been talking about. So shout out to BCB for sharing that fractal. So I tweeted this picture out here. 3 opportunities to dollar cost average. You know, if you've been following the channel, you've already known it. And even plus over here, right? We've actually gotten it over here as well. I mean, you can see we are breaking out of that downward resistance line. It's a good sign. Even over here, 1, 2, 3, right? We're above it. I mean, that it could be a false breakout. We can come all the way back down inside, which you know, based off where it is, I kind of would expect us to come back down a little bit following an ABC, but we'll see. And then here's our total 3 fractal. And look at the fractal, guys. We've been sharing this fractal. Again, BCB, he shared this fractal. So shout out to him for sharing it. The other fractals that I've shared are still in play. They don't look as nice, but they're still in play. This fractal actually really looks good. I mean, right on the dot, it flipped, right? So if you were just blindly following this fractal, I mean, it was beautifully on point. So if this fractal is true, then that means we still have, you know, another big pump to come before the 3-way pullback. Because you can see here's the 3-way pullback, right? So you can see we can actually get way up here before we get the 3-way pullback. So it's kind of like a wait and see moment. I know for sure that if we do get up here, everybody's gonna buy in, and then we pull back, they get stopped out, and then we have a 1-2, and then we fly. So, I mean, this thing's lining up nicely, guys. I don't know what else to say. It's beautiful. Right? I already talked about total 3 breaking out. You can see we broke out and we back tested right there. So here's I was looking at Theta token, right? The look of it, and then look at Ethereum Classic. Now this is on the 2-day chart. This is a much bigger fractal. So basically, if Theta or if Ethereum Classic can do it, why not Theta? So I put them side by side together, and you can see, you know, that the points here, right? Back up, right? The 1, 2, 3, one. Let me do this. 2, 3. So yeah, it's looking good. It started off kind of correctiveness in here, but look at this. We had kind of like a running flat in here almost, but it was an ABC. So I want to see something like that occur when we break above it. So this is what it was yesterday, right? And then this is what it is today, or actually right here. So nice. I did say I want to talk about, I think, Matic and ADA. I can't remember what I said, but it's just going to have to wait. Because look at Theta Fuel, right? I'm already over an hour, so if you can, like this video, share it. That way it kind of beats the algorithm. It seems like when I go over an hour, I mean, it gets less circulation through the algorithm, or maybe just people see 1 hour and they go, nah, it's too long, I don't want to watch it. And I get it. I can try to consolidate things, but there's just honestly so much to talk about. There's a lot of different things that need to be said in order to get the full picture. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I might start condensing some of the videos, or just do a quick update rather than the long version. But anyway, we can see Theta Fuel, A, B, C, 1, 2, A, B, C in wave 2, and now we have a wave 1. So, wow. It's like you can't ask for anything better than that. I wish Theta Fuel had, on the exchange I use, the futures, which is trading it with leverage. It doesn't. So I would definitely trade it with leverage, but on my exchange, it doesn't have it. Let me know what exchange you use and if they have leverage on that exchange. I know Mexi, I think, I can't remember if they do or not. I know BitTrue doesn't. I'm not sure about Binance. I'm not on there a lot. But yeah, the way this is shaping up, since we're back over here, we've been talking about an ABC, we got it, and we have an impulse. It looks like we're getting that three-way pullback now. So either this is going to turn into an expanded flat, or this is the beginning of the third wave. So this is 1, 2, and now we're starting our ascent to the upside in a third wave. And it kind of would make sense based off that total 3 fractal, so we'll see. I mean, trying to look for coins that have relatively lower risk for DCA opportunity. I mean, Litecoin seems to be relatively low in its range compared to something like, let's go back to it, let's see, total 3. From its last point to where it is now, that's about almost 15%, right? QNT, I mean, its whole range is pretty big, but not on this low here. Back to Litecoin, its range, not so big. Right, it's only about 11%. So I want to see Litecoin get the heck out of there as well. I'm not holding any Litecoin at the moment, but Litecoin is one of those coins where if Litecoin can do it, then it's a good sign for a lot of other coins. So I think I'm gonna have to do like a rapid fire video and get all of this out here and just talk about it. So I'll probably do a part 2 sometime soon, because I really like VeChain as well. I mean, you have this 3-way move, boom, You got another three-way move there, and then you got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a beautiful ABC here. And now you have a diagonal here. So maybe you get a three-way pullback, you long it, and bam. So VeChain likes to do these falling wedges in here. I mean, that looks freaking nice. We'll talk about it on the next video, but that'll do it for this video. Please consider leaving a like and hitting subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment. And please let me know what you guys think. And if there's any coins you want me to take a look at, drop them in the comment section. You know, don't be afraid to leave a comment. I mean, if you've made it to this far in the video, drop a number 4. So if I see a number 4 in the comments, I know that you made it through the whole video, and I definitely appreciate you. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.